Hey everybody, this is a trigger warning. I unexpectedly lost Mabel this week, and I wanted to be raw and honest with everyone about what I'm going through. This is going to be even sadder than what you are probably already expecting, and this is not a feel-good episode. Please turn back if this is your first episode, please. This is a very raw and honest thing. What follows is going to be a raw conversation with Amanda about grieving, with maybe 4 edits in it, marked by claps. I will not be listening through this for any purposes other than getting the volume correct. I just want you all to know what's going on. I have appreciated everyone's support during this time. If you did not see my eulogy I wrote through social media, you can find a link to it in the show notes. I will also be reading the eulogy again to close this episode. Thank you all for the love you've shown. For the first time in my life, I can admit that I need people right now. I'm going to run ads because fuck it. I'm sad and why not?
So good, so good, so good.
New fall arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off Vince, Kurt Geiger London, and more.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
Because there's always something new.
Join the Nordy Club at Nordstrom Rack to unlock exclusive discounts on your favorite brands. Shop new arrivals first and more. Plus, get an extra 5% off every Rack purchase with a Nordstrom credit card. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
This episode is brought to you by Cars.com. On Cars.com, you can shop over 2 million cars. That means over 2 million new car possibilities, like making space for your growing family, becoming the type of person who takes spontaneous weekend camping trips, or upgrading your commute. Wherever life takes you next, or whoever you're looking to be, there's a car for that on Cars.com. Visit Cars.com to discover your next possibility.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
You're going to love the intro line. I'm just kidding.
Oh, God, Trev. You're so stupid.
Actually, I'm gonna make that the intro. Welcome to a unexpected episode that I am going to be dropping surprisingly just today, probably Sunday. I don't see that I will be doing a lot of editing for this, so forgive me if a lot of my ADHD glitches remain in this. This is a raw update that I want to give everybody because I believe that the show has a very actually, I'm Trevin.
And I'm Amanda.
And I'm Amanda. If you are new to this show, don't listen to this, please.
Yes, this is not a normal, funny episode, just a real and raw update that's unfortunately happened. And I think also, not to speak for you,
Yep.
we like to do these because because we are so connected to our listeners. And I think it's not only a nice thing to lean on your community, like you were just telling me earlier, but we really love and respect everyone who's been with us and listens to our silly, dreadful dilemmas about life. And sometimes they aren't so silly, unfortunately. But
yeah, we're very honest. I feel, it's something that I don't know who started it. I feel like I started it at a point by escalating it so far, so much more than we probably needed to, with how much we share about ourselves and the things we go through. I also probably wouldn't have done this for any of my other animals. I mean, nothing against Boots. I love Boots. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. it's really hard to say, and I'll explain why in a bit. So we lost Mabel on Friday morning, and I've been putting a lot of things on our social media about it, and that's been cathartic, and that's been nice, and it's been nice to put that out in the world. I know there's a lot of our listeners, though, that don't use social media, really. I appreciate you all for finding us however you did, and for sticking with us.
Mm-hmm.
And the situation and how it happened, I mean, it's really sad when anybody loses an animal. I feel a lot like when I explained on the vacation episode where I said, like, I had that seashell splinter in my foot, and I said I couldn't stress. I had to like stop and tell Emily, like, I am a person who does not like to take up space. I'm a person who I suffer quietly so that other people can still feel comfortable, because I just don't like interrupting other people's stuff and just being in the way. But when Emily and I were on our vacation, I had to like stop and say, like, oh, hold on, I may be complaining to you, but I can't stress enough that like my foot is injured. Like, I can't walk correctly, and this is a serious thing I'm going through. Like, this isn't just like, oh, I'm on vacation and my feet hurt a little bit. I feel that way now because, oh my God, I'm not trying to say that like my situation is more worse than anybody who loses their dogs, but I've tried to keep. I wrote a really long thing originally before I wrote my thing for Mabel, and I made it probably more about myself than I needed to. And so I've tried to make everything that I've done to be just about Mabel. But with you guys, with you especially too, is I wanted to be honest with what I'm really going through, because it's a lot more than just losing my best friend and my dog. It was a little more tragic than that, and I wasn't so much the cause, but I was the catalyst of it.
I wouldn't even say that, Trevin. I really wouldn't.
On Friday morning, I got up and did my work from home job like I normally do, and she followed me in while I made breakfast, and I made my breakfast like I normally do. And while my breakfast was made, I normally would take her out to go pee and bring her back in to where I would feed her breakfast. When I took her out to pee, she's always such a diva about the grass when it's wet in the morning. She doesn't want to stand in it. And a lot of times I just pull the leash to force her into the grass. For some reason, I was like, I'll join you in the grass. So we stood in the grass together in my sandals that I bought for my vacation. And as a truck passed, her leash somehow fell from my hand. I've always thought about the leash in the same way that like I play guitar. Like, you don't push the strings down with all of your force all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a little bit of you have some finesse to it. And you know that if anything happened, you know that you can squeeze down if you need to, but you know, you're gentle with it. And that's just the way I handle things. I dropped the leash somehow. I don't know how it happened. Mabel has a very bad tendency. I'm sure I've talked about it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
She pulls very hard towards cars. She's always had a problem with it. Like, she's the type of dog that it's almost like a swing. When a car drives by, she will throw her entire weight in that direction, and sometimes you will be swinging her back from the air back down to the ground. She's a very brave dog, and I've never understood why, but besides her hate for squirrels and need to bark at them, she's always just had a thing with cars. And we tried to train it out of her. That one has been, and we've gotten to places where during walks we could get it to where she wasn't so triggered. We would always just say car, and when we say car, she would know to be ready. And it's just something about her in the mornings. She's especially pent up. She loves people, but in the mornings, if somebody 4 houses down is getting their mail, she'll bark at them for being out and getting their mail. But a truck was passing, and she was about to. I knew the truck was passing. I was prepared for the most part, and as the truck passed, she did her lunge like she normally does. Normally in these situations, we've had plenty of close calls where I have been able to stomp my foot down and catch the leash before it goes, or just reach down and grab it fast enough. I knew even when I dropped it that I was like, I'm fine. I've had many close calls, and I knew that it was in my control. But when I reached down to get the leash, my sandals that are just a little too big slipped. My foot slipped within the sandals with the wet grass, and I fell. And at that point, I launched my body as far forward as I could at the time, diving to catch the leash. But at that point, she had already pulled, and I missed the leash. And I just knew that minute that I did not catch it, that I had lost her. I've always, I was telling you earlier, I always questioned her thing with cars, because she's a very brave girl when it comes to dogs that could easily eat her, and she was always brave with cars. And I never really understood it because she's such an anxious girl too. So my thought was, sometimes when she runs the fence with the dog that's bigger than her, she will run up full speed, get the dog going the other direction, and then she will hesitate a second and then just follow that dog as fast as she can without actually being with the dog. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, I knew that it was going to be between what I thought would always happen. Every time I've thought about what would happen in this moment, I hope that she does what she does with the other dogs, and she slows down and then chases the car as fast as she can. And I think I learned that Mabel really was brave enough to think that she could take a car, and she did not hesitate at all, and she ran directly into it. I'm sadly going to make a lot of this about me, because this is where I'm more about what I'm going through. So I made my post on social media, and that was supposed to be, I wanted to kind of eulogize Mabel, even though I think that's going to be done in a lot of different ways, especially throughout the next probably year or longer. I had a dog movie idea a while back that I wasn't going to write, and now I think I'm going to change it to make it about her. So if you just want to hear just the good things about Mabel, you can read the blog post of what I wrote about her. I'm probably going to read it at the end of this too. But now I just want to kind of focus on what I'm going through, because this is the part that I feel like I need the most support for. Yeah, I mean, I did lose my pet, and I think that's terrible, and it's always tragic, especially when it's one that dies before it should. But I feel like I have the sandal or the seashell splinter in my foot right now, because it's already a terrible situation, but I know you said I'm not the catalyst for it, but I'm having a really hard time with knowing that I am part of the recipe that let it happen, and I'm having a hard time with the fact that I saw it happen. And I'm learning so much about myself in this moment, which I like to always kind of share, like the parts about myself that I learn. Because I think one thing I like about the show is I love reminding people that I'm human.
Yeah.
And because I think we like to try to tell ourselves that we're, I don't know, it's like we do everything in our power to try to not be, or I guess to not seem to be. But I don't know, it's weird. Or maybe that's just a new trend I'm seeing in people these days, is no humanity. But I like to do that because some people would say that that's like really brave, or some people would say that's like really like confident or something. And my form of confidence is just honesty, because I've always been, I don't think I'm the best podcast host, and I don't think I'm the best speaker because I have a lot of like glitches in the way I speak, but that drive me crazy because I edit them all the time.
Yeah.
But I've always been able to take facts and logic of situations and tell myself like, oh, hey, am I good at this? Oh, well, you know, the facts show me this. And it's like, am I a podcaster? I don't know. In the beginning, it's like, I don't know, I've done 25 episodes. I guess I am now. It's like, how can you have imposter syndrome when the facts tell you that it's just like, you are, you know, like, so that's always been my way of finding confidence in things is just being honest with the facts and accepting them. And so it's been easier to find confidence in myself by just saying, here are some stats of things I've done. I'm obviously succeeding. I am successful, even on the days where I don't feel successful. By being a person who just looks so heavily at the facts, it's always been easy to take the emotion out of things and just feel like emotions get in line because it's the truth. Mm-hmm. And in this situation, there's no logical, fact-based way to say that I wasn't a part of the accident. And I know it's not my fault. It reminded me so much of the time when I got jumped and I had that voice that was like, if you have to throw this guy on the road and kill him, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It was just like it's like my ADHD. Now that I've learned that about myself, it's like my ADHD taught me to think things faster like that. And I was like, dude, you cannot feel guilty tomorrow. Or I mean, you can, but you can't feel guilty in the long term.
Yeah.
If you end up killing this guy to save yourself, because like you're getting jumped right now.
Yeah.
I felt that same feeling where I calculated everything as it was leading up. And it's like before I did everything, my body just acted anyway, but I knew I was doing it. It was really interesting. So it's hard for me to take it's hard for me to just tell myself it's not all my fault, because there is just like part of it was caused by me, and like I know it's not my fault, and I know it was an accident, and like what I told you earlier, it doesn't stop it from being the biggest accident that I've ever been a part of, or that I've ever done. And I replay it in my head a lot, and I keep imagining if I did grab the leash, because there's so many times we've been through it where this sort of thing had happened and it was always just kind of a not so fast moment. Like she'd get yanked back and she'd know better. And this was the first time I'd ever, well, one, ran the simulation in my head, and two, experienced anything other than feeling that tug. And when I lost the tug, I just knew it was done.
Abercrombie denim is everything right now. Denim should feel like this. Confident, easy, like your butt has never looked better. If you didn't know, Abercrombie's Curve Love denim went viral in 2019 for eliminating waist gap, and it's still a game changer. Between that and their classic fits with a straighter line from waist to hip, the perfect denim does exist. Shop Abercrombie denim in the app, online, and in store.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Routine, adjective. Used to describe an individual whose spirit is unyielding, unconstrained, one who navigates life on their own terms, effortlessly. They do not always show up on time, but when they arrive, you notice. An individual confident in their contradictions. They know the rules but behave as if they do not exist. Routine, the new fragrance by Miu Miu, defined by you.
We talked about how I don't always react to things normally. And I learned something about myself. I started screaming a lot. Repetitively, it was just pretty much just no, fuck, no, blah, something. And I've always been a person who doesn't like to take up a lot of space. I'm not a person who is super loud or takes a lot of attention. I'm polite. I usually will push my feelings aside most of the time for other people's comfort. And I just wanted to stop everything in that moment to figure out what the smartest thing to do was to help or save her or stop. The truck stopped and the guy got out. And, you know, some of my life, when people are present, I want to, especially when I know people are there, I'm like, you definitely can't act out now because there's like witnesses to see you acting a fool. And this dude was staring at me, and I just couldn't stop screaming. And it was just, I knew the whole neighborhood, which I'm not even that vocal to. They probably think we are like hermits who don't even leave the house most of the time. I just kept screaming, and I didn't care who heard. I didn't care if the man there judged me and thought that I looked stupid, or if I looked the most unattractive I'd ever looked in my life, or that maybe my shirt flew up a little too much. I didn't care. I just hurt so much. And I think I would have been really embarrassed if I wasn't hurting so much. And I've come toe to toe with my social anxiety a lot in my life. And I always try to find where that limit is. You know, like, what's this? Like, you almost have to, you know, you want to solve the equation to do it. So you like, what had the properties of beating this before? So like, you kind of find, I'm trying to like find my threshold of pain, you know, and on social anxiety. And I was so shocked at myself because as I was just screaming, I was looking at the guy at points, and the voice in my head was like, you need to stop now. Like, this is kind of embarrassing. Like, you do not even raise your voice in front of people. And I just, I kept going. And the guy stayed there with Mabel as she took her last breath because I was too busy screaming, trying to stop it from happening. And I know that's not my fault either. I have to hope that Emily and I telling ourselves that makes us feel better is like, Mabel thinks that chasing the car is her job, and she always, we never let her actually catch the car. So like, we're telling ourselves that we think that, you know, she wanted to get that car to stop and that she actually finally got one. And I hope, and I'm finding like hope that she feels good about that. And that, I mean, the car did stop. So if her whole point was just to be like, hey, car, stop, you know, she gets to look up from that in her last moment and hopefully feel that she succeeded. We'd always talked about like when she becomes an old dog and like how we would pay the extra money to have her come be put down at home. And I told myself I'd have to be brave and like sit with her in her final moments when that happens. I do regret that I wasn't technically there in those final moments, even though I can't feel too terrible because I don't know, like logically, I don't know if her brain was really even working. So anyway, the guy hugged me and was a very nice guy. At first he tried to tell me it wasn't his. He was like, "I'm so sorry, she came out of nowhere," and even being totally distraught, I could not. I still was worried about his feelings too, and I was like, "Dude, I can't feel bad. It's not your sorry. It's not your fault. There's no way it's your fault." He was like, "Okay, well, we need to get her out of the road," and picked her up, moved her, and he told me if he knew I was in so much shock. He was like, "Is there anybody that we can call for you, or is there anybody around?" And I looked back at the house and said, "Well, my wife's in there and she hasn't gotten up yet." That just started a whole new cycle of pain for me, knowing that I was going to have to tell her that, well, I'm also the person that just has to give her the news, which is so hard to do. But also just to know that, there's still just that feeling to know that I was a part of it. I stopped hyperventilating and like having a panic attack by maybe, I don't know, a few hours later. It feels like, oh my God, I couldn't speak to Emily without screaming. And that was different. That was a different thing for me because I feel like I really kind of pushed. It was really unfair sometimes in a way because like Emily had only ever seen me cry a little bit at my grandma's funeral, and then to go from full blown like this, I was having a hard time every time I just replay it. I just keep shaking, and my throat hurts so much from it's also just like a negative energy like builds up inside of me.
Yeah.
And it's just like catching in my throat so much. And it's just like all of it's being held in by the front of my throat. Emily was a lot of super supportive and super helpful and does not blame me at all for it, which is great because obviously knew she wouldn't. Well, we got it taken care of. We got her cremated or we're getting her cremated. We'll be picking her up sometime in the next week. I'm gonna, in my little thing, I'll probably record myself solo at the end of this, just reading my like 6-page eulogy that I wrote for her last night. She always barked at the tree. She always had like a thing barking at the tree with the squirrels, which got us all those noise complaints. I had a dream. I had a hope one day. I was actually that video was a part of a project that I was working on. I was going to record her doing those, and I was going to do a cover of Rihanna's BDSM. And it was just going to be, what is it? That dog is bad, and all the neighbors are through with it. I think I was going to say something like, "You can train me with treats and bones, but noise complaints excite me." I had lyrics at somewhere that I could probably find, and so I was actually getting recordings of it so that I could. The bridge was just going to be like a musical thing of just montages of her barking.
Oh my God!
And me like asking her to stop. And then instead of the S S S and M or whatever, it was gonna be like bad dog. Like, I also had a recent idea of I wanted to do like an internet short or something of it was gonna be like those biopic movies, like Elvis's biopic or any of these ones, and it like because it's always like, we need somebody to play the song that'll save the, whatever, something like that. And I wanted you and I to have, I had a dream of you and I being at like making a short or something of being, or maybe it would just be an audio thing like we normally do, but it was going to be a large gathering of people, and something was going to go haywire, and they were going to be like, "Oh my God, like this whole picnic is going to be ruined if there isn't somebody here to sing songs about their dog right now." And so it was just going to be a whole big scene where it just like, for some convoluted reason, somebody needed to hear a song about a dog. And I was going to I was gonna do a thing where like I came on the stage and sang one of my Mabel anthems, and it like brought hope to the people and saved the picnic, and then like we were gonna just make a fake trailer of people like, oh my god, he fucking did it, like because I had a lot of songs that I sang to Mabel. I mean, I know I had the Toilet Man episode about singing the Toilet Man song. Majority of my lyrics were about her. It comes in waves, the pain. I still find myself shaking a lot and doing a lot of, I catch my mouth just being caught open a lot, and just, I'm very shaky right now. I'm having a really hard time, and I don't know, I'm not like asking for anything, but I also feel like it's kind of interesting for me to keep paying attention and being aware of what I'm going through, because I am feeling it. Like everybody's like, oh, don't be afraid to feel it. Oh, I am, sister.
Yeah,
and
you really are.
Writing has helped a lot. My eulogy that I wrote for Mabel, I really enjoyed writing that. Emily and I have been obsessed with just going out and looking at her tree. And so I'm kind of embracing some of the changes that I'm embracing the changes because they're here. I'm not fighting them, and I'm not like trying to not think about her. I'm not trying to do any of that weird stuff. I mean, it's not weird, but I'm just like, I'm trying to do all the healthy, right things to do in this. And I know that's nobody's asking me to do that. But you know, for myself, and I try to think about like, what would my advice be to somebody? And we all have great advice that we would never take from ourselves. And I've been trying to do that more in my life, where I'm just like, I'm taking my own advice today. I'm taking my own advice with, oh, well, if I want the show to do better, okay, I'm going to take my own advice and be disciplined on this thing. Oh, I want to work out better. I'm going to take my own advice and do this. And so I miss Mabel the most. Mabel was my best friend, and somebody posted on our Doom Crew group not long ago about the show had a mascot, and I really do think that maybe Mabel may have been that, or at least for the latter half of the show, or at least not the first year, obviously. She had a huge personality. It was personality so big that I felt I treated it like a human's personality, in the same way that I would purposely walk on eggshells to make sure that I didn't trip up any of her particular things that she loved or didn't like or something. She's one of the things that helped me catch on that I had ADHD, because I have some videos of it. One of my favorite things, when she would be down here, I have a video of me, I'm editing one of your stories. So every time I hit play, like, she was conditioned and understood the sound cues of what editing was. So I would be working on a story of yours, and she would want me to take her outside or go to the bathroom. And she'd go, because I would edit something and then I would stop. But if I hit a certain key, it will restart from the same spot so that you can hear the same spot and make it sound good. And Emily already judges my ass for listening to the same part over and over again. But I would repeat the part, and you would say whatever you say again. And she'd get up, and she would walk over to one side of me, and I would and at this point I was just messing with her because I knew she was so smart to pick it up. And I'd stop, and she'd look at me and be like, okay, now we're going to go. And I'd hit play again. And she'd go, oh. And she would always puff her chest out and look in there, and it would kind of get to a pace like, I oughta fuck, oh. And then I would stop and restart your spot again. And to a certain point, I would always get her to go, and then she would just bark at me a bunch of times. And it's like, you know that I'm waiting for you. You know that I'm ready to go. And I thought more about that as the thoughts of ADHD was coming in, and I was doing some of the awareness and everything. And I was like, oh my God, my dog is realizing, because I'll tell myself oh, I'll take you outside in 5 minutes. And then yeah, I'm not cruel or anything, but an hour or something could pass, and I'd be like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
Time doesn't work the same in my brain sometimes. And I think she was just she was so in tune with me that she knew to keep me on task. And accountable in a lot of weird ways, especially with staying up too late to go to bed.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. That's why you need Shopify. They'll help you create a convenient, unified command center for whatever your business throws at you, whether you sell online, in-store, or both. You can sell the way you want, attract the customers you need, and keep them coming back. Turn those what-ifs into why-nots with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer. That's shopify.com/special offer.
I had a job editing for a big show at one point, and I got fired. That it really wasn't a big deal. I didn't like the job, but the way in which it happened was kind of personal. And I came home and had like my first adult panic attack. I think I talked about having a panic attack at one point, and Mabel was there for me. Emily hadn't gotten home yet from work, and the whole time I was doing those jobs and trying to edit for those other shows where I was really working myself to death at those times. I was pulling like 3 a.m. nights and still going to my day job. And, every time I had Mabel, just, even though my time management skills was ass, she's like, dude, we'll do it. And she was so adaptable. And anytime she had to be a part of a dumb video or had to wear a stupid outfit, she was a good sport.
Yeah,
and
the best.
I love her so much, and I'm really going to miss her, but I am also just dealing with a lot of the trauma that comes around what has happened. And I don't want to, like I said, don't want to make it about me, but I really am going through a hard time. And I don't think this will affect anything for the show because we've got a big October coming up, and I didn't want this to step in because we're already kind of recorded ahead. So it would be really confusing if I dropped this like right on Halloween time.
Yeah.
So I thought, and I don't want this, our next episode's going to be a guest episode, and I don't want to really, I don't really want to hijack that situation. And I've worked really hard to make sure that October is a good month for us. So it's nothing against Mabel, but it's like I'm still in September. So let's try to keep the heaviest part of it here in September. And I don't want it to mess with spooky season because Mabel was already, we already had some pictures next to some of the orange leaves, and she was a very fall loving dog. And I don't want to ruin her favorite time of year. She died before spooky season. So, I want to say I am considering another pet in the future. Near future probably, and it's like I don't really care what people think. We've already talked about this.
Yeah.
But just to explain where I'm at mentally is I need support in what I'm going through and like what happened. And I feel so bad that I'm like one of the kindest people to animals, and I love, if given the choice, a split-second decision, there are humans that I would have not saved if I could have saved her.
Mm-hmm.
And it really sucks too, because I think I've had a history of maybe not cherishing the people or things that I have. And I've looked back at that and been like, I've been selfish in the past, and I wish I did this, and I wish I did that. And I can tell myself that Emily and I, all the time, Mabel took my breath away the day I saw her. And every week, probably, anytime Emily and I take a walk, I would say, gosh, it's just so crazy that it never wore off. But I'm still just so enamored with everything she does. And I just expected that I would have got used to her.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get used to the presence of a dog, but I never got used to having something so beautiful and intelligent and funny around. So if I do get a dog, and probably when, it's more for the support that I need in this time of my life than it is just trying to replace her or anything, because I really wanted to get a second dog, but because Mabel was so particular, we could never do that. And I mean, it's comical how much she just ruined situations with other dogs. And although we got her to be cool with my parents, I just knew it would have been a really long learning curve. And I knew that when that day came, it was going to be when she was very old and, you know, didn't have a whole lot of spunk left to her. I'm heartbroken that she'll never be an old dog like her namesake was and like her personality was. I did expect her to have a lot more holidays, a lot more outfits, a lot more fun pictures. So that will always break my heart in a lot of ways. But we have her tree, and Emily and I still just wish we could hear her famous barks that got her all those noise complaints. And she's a big part of the show. I think I don't even know if I ever finished that thought back in the beginning of this, but like I don't think I would have done this for the cat so much to you guys, but the neighbor episode was all because of Mabel's noise complaints. I remember Dry January with Tinish with Nick. My dilemma was that Mabel was so afraid of the automatic water for the cats. She's just been in a lot of things, and she's so damn photogenic that she sneaks into a lot of clips and stuff just because she's so present. And I think that's another thing too, is her presence is there. Emily and I realized today that I've been obsessed with her tree out there, and that's because I know it's like the place that she circles, and that'll be in the eulogy. I'll explain that. But I to add to the eulogy, I realized this morning with Emily that, like, why do I feel so drawn to the tree when she's usually in the house with me, and most of my memories with her are just like laying on the couch together, having her support through certain things. But I realized today that I feel drawn to the tree because I know she's not here. And when she's not here, the only place she could be is the tree. And so I think there's just no tricking my senses. And like, you know, Mabel may have helped me find my ADHD diagnosis. And one of the things I said was, I can feel quiet now. And I can feel quiet more than ever right now. So, so I just feel that because she's not here, she must be at the tree. And I've walked around the tree, and I'm not a spiritual person, but I just know that girl put so much energy around that tree that it's hard not to think of her and feel her around that area. I looked around the base of it to see if it looked all scratched up because of the way she clawed it. And no, I don't think she weighed enough to really make a lot of marks. It's a sturdy old tree, but we're going to put wildflowers around it, and Emily's going to make a plaque for it. And I'm embracing the change that is this, because I look at the tree all the time now, hoping that my brain will kind of fill in and put her there. But I know that's never going to happen. So I'm embracing the change by changing the tree itself, and we're going to decorate it. And I would rather the tree remind me of Mabel and not trick me into hoping that she's there. I think that's going to be important. Emily and I were always going back and forth about moving the seating area to the bottom part of the deck. And I said, no, I like it at the top. Mabel and I like to sit up there while I write stories. And now I've been finding myself just going and staring at the tree and crying and looking at the tree. And I think it's weird, but we are going to move our seating area to the lower part and we already put the catio down there too, so that we can all kind of just look at the tree together. So, and that's a change that I'm embracing, because I just know that you can't go back to how it was, and so it's just going to be different. And that's how I feel about another dog too. And if I get one, nothing would ever replace Mabel in my heart or her personality. But I need love right now.
Yeah. Well, and like I said earlier, I think that dogs are so healing, and of course, everybody is like mourning the loss of Sweet Mabel, but I feel like you had you were too personally involved in the ending, and I think that you should do whatever you need to do to heal. And I also just want to say a few things too.
Yeah, we're gonna we won't sell you anything, but we will sell you these ads.
No, Trevin, I am not gonna do a corny ad break. No, I just want to speak from not only myself, but from our entire audience that you're not alone. You have a lot of support, not only from the people who listen to this podcast or this episode. I understand how some people probably won't because it's pretty sad. And that's okay. I totally get it. But you've now also seen that you have a physical community in your
oh my god, yeah,
in your area where you live. You had so many people stop by. You have all your friends that don't live in your area, and then you have all of our listeners who live all over the world. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. You should never feel judged for any way or whatever way that you need to grieve and heal yourself and make your heart happy. And that it's not your fault. And I just really hope, and I know it's silly to hope that this pain will ease anytime soon, but just as someone who has known you for years and you've just always been one of my closest friends, I hope that for you, that it will. And and then personally, I just always looked at Mabel as like the miniature version of my dogs. I showed you that picture when we dog sat her all those years ago, and
oh god,
she's sitting in between my massive collies, and she's the baby Sheltie in the middle, and she's just always felt like the little baby that I didn't have, you know? Even coming over here to record, it's going to be weird for a while, I think, because I always did my signature knock on your front door. She would bark. She would peek her little head out at me and greet me.
She would always be like still a little huffy because she was like, I'm going to fuck up whoever comes to this door. And then she'd see it's you and she'd be like, that's fine. I just need to like, kind of turn myself down a little bit. And it's a process. So she's like,
yeah, she was still angry with me, but she accepted my love immediately anyway.
Yeah. One of my first memories, I was going through my phone of, different pictures I had, and one that really just tore me up was when I came across Super Mabel, when you took the pictures when you dressed up her with your dogs and put the
oh yeah,
the eye mask on her and the cape, and she just stood there so proud. And I was working at my old job, which was, everybody knows how much I hated that job, and it wasn't a very emotionally safe place or anything. It was a very conservative, kind of narrow-minded place. And I remember just being like, I don't care. I have got to brag about this little pretty ass dog to these men. And I don't care if they think that's the silliest, lamest little thing. And I was just like, this dog is not only beautiful, but this dog is a superhero. I was very new to that dog. You had to watch her for a little bit at one point for a short amount of time, just because we were in between either working on the house or something with the place we were in for a little bit, the basement. I don't know. But yeah, just the fact that you could dress this dog up and she could just be so fun and be such a ham, and she knew how to pose. And
she was a natural from the beginning.
He was very special. And but yeah, I appreciate everything that you've done for her and the love that you've given her. And you've been like her aunt this whole time. And
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna have to re-look at that picture. I forgot all about that.
It's my lock screen right now.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know why. That one just gave me such a hit at that point. Not that a lot haven't. I mean, honestly, the thing that's affected me the most is probably the video of her spinning around the tree.
Yeah.
The most. I always was so impressed by it, but at the same time was like, would you fucking stop? Why do you do this so much? But anyway, I appreciate you all for being there for me. I'll probably end this with my little eulogy for Mabel. I'll record this. I will spare you from that one. The masculinity thing was already hard enough to sit through me reading that long thing. This ended up being the easiest 6 pages I've probably ever written.
I'm sure.
So thank you guys. We've got a big October ahead. I will probably make an official thing. I don't know. I'll probably make an official thing at the beginning of one of these episodes coming up. That's just like a nice thing about her. I may do something more, more specific for her later. We will see. But I don't expect everybody to listen to this, and that's fine. I honestly don't know if I would either. So I needed to get this out. I always get this I like to get this stuff out usually in stories or something, but you and I already are recorded ahead and we have so much planned for Halloween that I'm just like, I want Halloween to be Halloween time.
Yeah.
And we're going to be a few episodes in before I have even experienced this. So let's just let Trevin rock his thing at the beginning of October, and we'll just pretend that, yeah, it's not as big of that's not a big deal. I just really want to let October be its thing, because I think it's going to be a really big and special month for the show. And I have high hopes. So I wanted Mabel to have her own spotlight, and she deserves. It's not that I don't want Spooky Month taking from her.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think that she was the mascot of the show for sure, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Even one of I think it was our last picture we took together was with her.
Yeah.
So I think she deserved to have this moment. I'm just gonna miss that little girl.
Yeah.
But I know that, like you said, she would want the show to go on. She would want you to get your ass to bed at a decent hour.
Yeah, she would be she got so pissed anytime I stayed up past like 10, and she would be so mad if I did not. At least I've got us in a nice place right now where I won't fall behind and then have to catch up by means of staying up late. So
yeah,
I want to find a distraction. I want to keep going, but I want to also just be real with you guys, and I can't wait to be real with you guys on this one. At this point, I would have saved a dilemma for November, and I can't do that. So
yeah,
I appreciate you all being there for me and hearing me out. And whether you think it's too dramatic or not, I don't know. I mean, most of you probably won't, but I'm sure I've definitely met people in my life that say it's just a dog in certain situations.
Yeah, they can go to hell.
Yeah, and I'm already prone to trauma and PTSD type things. So this has been very difficult, and I love all of you guys for being there for me and listening, and fun episodes are coming in a couple days.
Fun episodes are coming. We're going to continue to be our goofy old selves in honor of goofy, silly, sweet, and the hilarious Mabel. Like, in her honor, that's all she would ever want. I'm sure if anyone, though, like, wanted to send Trevin, some words of encouragement, send him some love. Let's wrap our arms around him during this time, because it isn't easy. And And yeah, I think over time, I just hope that, the pain eases and the good memories just remain. I'm sure too, if anyone has any cute ideas for the tree, I'm sure if anyone has anything they'd like to contribute, we can just really make this tree just like the most beautiful, sweet way to honor her. And I love that. And I love all of you guys so much. And I love you, Trevin.
I love you, and I feel like you and I have gotten a lot closer today. So
yeah, I appreciate always your honesty and your vulnerability, and it's gonna get back to laughs very soon.
I really thought you were gonna say, and just remember.
Could you imagine?
Dude, I mean, I'm
breaking
trained
for ads. I'm ending with our kitschy ass ending phrase. No. But just know that we love you. The cackling is coming back soon. We'll exchange these tears for cackles in no time.
Yeah, we will. We have not cackled our last cackle.
Never.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's just going to be this. I don't know if I'm going to do anything. Oh yeah, I forgot. We're going to go into the thing. So thank you all for being here. I was doing like a Midwestern goodbye and not sure what to do. I'm going to stop the recording like right around here, and then I'm going to give my little eulogy for Mabel. I won't do much editing on that either. Thank you all for being here. I will probably put ads on this because fuck it. I just want to feel better, and money will help a little too, right?
Just no corny ad breaks from me.
Yeah, I apologize if an ICE ad comes up. I've been hearing that those have been coming on podcasts. Have you heard about that shit?
What
Oh my God.
the fuck?
Yeah, there's like somebody, one of our listeners messaged us and said, I heard an ICE like recruiting ad on your show. I'm like, well, what the fuck? And Heather Ashley was looking into it and said that she's been hearing that more shows have been getting it. And
oh fuck, that is unacceptable.
It's because we accept something that has to do with it's like job searches, and the only choice that we as independent artists have is we can say, I don't want to promote job searches, which means that we would lose anything for like Wendy's is hiring or any like all those other things that give us all this money. We'd have to let all of that go just to say no ICE ads.
Fuck.
So I believe that she's doing the fighting and figuring out how to get that like in its a category of its own.
Yeah, at that point there needs to be like a political choice not to have that.
Yeah, that should be a political category, which I think there is a political category.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so don't judge me if you hear an ad up in here. I'm just, it'll make me feel a little better. Just listen to it and let me get paid.
Yeah.
Not that we don't have that many listeners anyway. So but thank you guys, and I'm going to go to the eulogy now, and I appreciate y'all for being there, and I hope this didn't bum you out too much, but I'm in the thick of a moment, and I feel like I talk so openly about ones that passed that I wanted to try to take my advice early, express myself early, and try to work through it as quickly as possible, and that comes down to sharing with you guys, even if it's maybe a little messy and raw. So thank you all, and new episode Wednesday.
All right, guys. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels and music are made for each other. They share a rhythm in the craft of making something timeless, while being a part of legendary nights. From backyard jams to sold-out arenas, there's a song in every toast. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. Tennessee whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Everyone is telling her she dreamt it, but in The Woman in Cabin 10, Lo Blacklock is determined to uncover the truth. In the gripping new thriller coming to Netflix October 10th, Keira Knightley plays a journalist aboard a luxury yacht who witnesses a crime she can't unsee. Adapted from Ruth Ware's best-selling novel, directed by Simon Stone. Watch The Woman in Cabin 10, only on Netflix on October 10th.
I give my daughter Smarty Pants vitamins to support her brain health, so her science fair project sounds more like and less like. And while I may say it's not a competition, of course it is. Choose Smarty Pants vitamins to support your kid's brain health. Shop on Amazon, smartypantsvitamins.com, or at Target today. Brain health support from Key Nutrients. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Here's me reading my Remembering Mabel eulogy that I wrote on Saturday night. I'm not going to go through the trouble of editing this unless it's really super bad at certain points, and I'm not even going to find music or anything. I'm just going to do it raw. So you can also read this through the link in the bio or in the show notes. This will probably be rough, but anyway. I'm writing this so much earlier in my life than I expected. On Friday morning, Emily and I lost our beloved Mabel. And although the tragic circumstances are something I'll spend a very long time unpacking, I want to focus on the amazing life she gave me and my little family. Mabel came into this world as Sadie on November 23rd, 2018. After the passing of one of her original owners and a health decline of the other, she was surrendered to Casey's Small Pet Rescue. There, the foster mom was so impressed with her that she almost kept Mabel for herself. She was already calling her Sable, prepared to make that her new permanent name. Around that time, my young family of 3 cats and 2 sinners living together out of wedlock were homeless. A friend was generous enough to give us a room in her basement while we shopped for our first home. We are not a very maneuverable family as is, and the small temporary space was already too little for them. Emily had wanted a Sheltie as they were a breed she grew up with. While keeping an eye on the dog market, she came across Sadie/Sable. She shared the beautiful pup with the pointy ears with me. I had no connection to the breed, but after one picture, I knew that dog was way too fancy for someone like me. Surely, the universe wouldn't pick us out of the large number of applications for the highly sought-after dog. But I was wrong. Emily's background with the breed and the age of our family got us chosen. I drove up to that building tempering my future wife's expectations. Don't settle for this dog if they're a dick. Just because they're pretty and the universe granted us this pick doesn't mean we have to get the dog. We followed the foster mom's directions, going around the side gate. I looked over her fence and literally gasped. She took my breath away. I had no idea a dog this beautiful could exist. The woman's yard was pretty wide open. Mabel glided through it. I remember saying that night that I'd never seen a dog move like that before. Even when she was alive, I always viewed that day as if she was floating just barely off the ground. I'm not sure what words were exchanged, but Emily and I's reaction were both awe. It was understood this girl was not like a first meet with a Tinder date. She was even more beautiful in person. She was pretty distracted with the backyard, but eventually made her way to greet us. It felt like one of those clips of Elvis where he stops to talk to one girl in the crowd of hundreds, throwing themselves at him. I did whatever the body language version of stuttering is when I reached out for my first pet. Mabel always had a way of always bowing and moving forward respectfully when going in for affection. There was a politeness in her eyes that I connected with. Going in for a pet had a soft sweetness to it that said, "I'd like it if you'd pet me, if it's convenient for you." We had already known we were going to change her name to Mabel if we got her. It felt so fitting for the character we saw in her pictures. I also liked that it rhymed with the name the foster mom was already trying to move her into. We wanted to give her an old lady name, and we were so glad to find that her personality fit it perfectly. There were growing pains at first. Living in the basement with cats was tough, and although I already knew Boots had a strong call to violence toward dogs, I believed Emily and I could do it. We finally got into our house and made sure the fence that broke right after we purchased it would be fixed just in time to be Mabel's backyard paradise. The growing pains with Boots continued. After an encounter that led Mabel to get stitches and many fights, I wondered if we'd have to give her up, but they managed to keep a mostly peaceful rivalry after about year 2 together. Freddie, being our more shy guy, seemed to enjoy Mabel's presence since they both preferred to just be alone together. be left alone together. Harvey tried so hard to make Mabel her friend. Emily and I believed she could sense the feminine energy, but Boots ruined cats for Mabel. There would be no relaxing long enough to accept one of Harvey's long brushes past. I watched Emily's confidence grow beside Mabel. The way she bought the treat carrier clip on and took her training seriously. How she was the more strict disciplinarian on walks, and how much she felt personally attacked by Mabel's bouts of selective resistance. Mabel brought out a beautiful and motherly side of her. This isn't written, but I know it was a dreadful dilemma at one point. As for Mabel herself, she was a particular girl who was always present. If you stayed up past bedtime, she sighed and stared. Any movement after that would be followed by her walking toward the bedroom, leading the way. She was the queen of side-eye and sass. If another dog dared to exist in her presence, she gave them an earful. No matter the size, or if there was anything to protect her from them, she barked and always moved closer. Always brave at times when she shouldn't be. To truly encompass her personality, I think it's more fitting to point out her dislikes before her likes. Although she was the sweetest, most gentle dog with people and kids, she had a great disdain for squirrels. There was nothing she hated more, which I always joked was cruel when Emily started feeding them. The foster mom who gave her to us made a joke about how it was one of the few personality traits she was able to pick out in a short amount of time. But the girl, quote, loves squirrels. The foster mom thought it was a cute, fun thing. Our neighbor told animal control she found it to be more of a noise complaint. Even the night this isn't written either, but even the night that we got her, when we went to go get the food and stuff for her, we bought a stuffed squirrel as a chew toy because we just took the foster mom's word for it. She actually never ended up playing with it or really hardly cuddling with it, but at one point we looked back at that and was like, why the fuck did we buy this? There was no breaking her of the hate for squirrels. The second we let her out into the backyard we provided her, she went straight to the tree and bark at it. It was her job. She barked when she saw no squirrels, challenging them to come out and get barked at. When she did see them, she barked even more for them to leave. And the cycle continued. Her patrol was a figure 8 circling both of her trees, crossing between the two. Both trees have had permanent dirt patches around them since we moved in. Her tiny feet killed the grass within just a couple of weeks. Over and over again, she just circled them and barked. We once got a vibrating collar that was able to get her into a bit of a quieter phase. She got so much energy built up wanting to bark that she just spun in circles. It reminded me of a weird circus drill, the thing she would do, spinning in circles while keeping her eyes up in the trees. Even though the barking came back, I didn't mind that she'd still mix in some of the spin moves. Mabel knew how to chill. She lived up to her old lady name, an age we spoke so excitedly about her reaching. Although she could get excited and play sometimes, no one else was allowed to. If we tried to get one of the cats to play fetch, she'd bark the second the ball went into the air. Zoomies were for her and her only. Emily and I had a joke that she just wanted to keep the vibes. If anyone was too loud or expressive in their movements, she'd bark at them. "That's not the vibes!" We would always yell to accompany her fits. My dad got excited during Chiefs games. Mabel would join in. Not to cheer, but to tell him to shut up. Even at Emily's Nona's funeral, the clapping after a touching speech caused Mabel to stand and bark. This was a moment everyone remembers as her giving Nona a send-off. And yes, she was the kind of dog who got invited to funerals. When Emily and I got Mabel during the summer of 2021, we knew she was our baby. We already knew that summer that her 3rd birthday deserved a full-blown party. We got her a cake from a pup bakery, a pink crown, and had all our friends over. She dressed up for the occasion and unwittingly became our performance art. She dressed up for occasions and unwittingly became our performance art. Every holiday in life event was made instantly better with Mabel there. We figured out how to love holidays again without using a kid to give us that magic. We turned walking into a healthy habit that doubled as relationship strengthening therapy sessions between Emily and me. Our wedding venue choice was made so she could be there, and have a room to sleep in if she got overwhelmed. She definitely did. Our army of nieces and nephews instantly bonded with her. From day one, she never had aggression toward them. We were so impressed. I couldn't believe I took her to a 3-year-old's birthday almost right after adopting her. Mabel started every day waking up from her little nook she made under my side of the bed. Every weekend morning started with a sigh before slowly emerging, walking around the bed, making her way up her set of bed stairs, then lying on my chest. From there, she would stare at me, eventually resorting to lifting my hands with her little snoot. Her job of emotional support had the same schedule, no matter the day of the week or federal holiday. She was going to make sure you knew she loved you, even if she had to wake you up for your reminder. The rest of her days were spent rushing between Emily and me, bringing joy like a man in a burning building equipped with a faucet, 1 bucket, and no hose. She only broke from that to nap, bark at passing cars, and patrol her trees when allowed. She hated loud noises, like the blender or the ice machine. She eventually learned to love the ice machine because no barks received her ice to chew on. Our kitchen has had a permanent dog bed in it since Christmas, when Mabel got it. She loved to lay on it and stare at anyone who cooked. I would regularly look over from kitchen chores to see how beautiful this creature was. I was taking her attention away by doing the most mundane things, and her laying on my comfy bed in my kitchen felt like a double rainbow to me. Mabel loved long walks to get pup cups from our local ice cream shop. She loved all of her family and any kids she met. She has a fan club of children down the street from us. One of the kids always messes up and calls her Maple. Every time they see us, they drop everything and run to see her. Last time we saw them, they apologized to Mabel for not seeing her as much lately because of school starting back up. She had an anxiety that I always felt akin to. Although she stood bravely in the face of imminent danger, she crumbled at her own perceived issues. The smell of smoke in the air would cause her to army crawl as low to the ground as possible while pulling away. Fireworks were an obvious one, though I loved having her keep me from celebrating. Loud bangs in the distance made her visibly distraught. We had a Scooby-Doo Shaggy sort of thing where, in any scary situation, she would jump to let me pick her up. She hated being held up high, but I know she felt comforted in those moments. My most used phrase to her was, "It's okay, puppy." I wanted to protect her from anything and everything, even from herself in one of her really brave moments. Her expressive eyes always let me know when she was scared. For all the mental support she brought me, I wanted to return the favor everywhere I could. For me, Mabel was the start of my home. Until today, I had never lived a day in this house without her. I remember at a young age hearing the quote that goes, "Cats are for people who want to give love, and dogs are for people who want to receive love." That always stuck with me. And although I love all the animals, that was always the quote I used to justify why I was a cat dad. I thought a lot about that quote when we adopted Mabel. When I met her, I thought, this thing is way too nice for me. Honestly, I never stopped feeling that way. But when she chose me and the universe let me have this girl, I decided that I also deserved to be loved. Mabel's presence in my life made the world fit more comfortably. She made my social anxiety easier to manage. I grew into a new person with her by my side. And although she's not the only reason that happened, anytime you thought, Trevin puts in a lot of work for that show, just know that was always done with her there, on the dog bed by my desk. She's been my cheerleader for what have been 4 of the happiest years of my life. This is not a full eulogy or obituary. I think Mabel's mark will be felt and remembered through a lot of different art forms that Emily and I both work on. I just need more Mabel in the world, and unfortunately, art and expression are the only ways that's possible now. Mabel was my Miss Puppy. Miss Pup, Snuppy, my big fluff, my best girl, Marble, Meatball, my little lady. I performed thousands and thousands of songs in her honor while in the kitchen. I've got to a point where she would come to me after one particular number that I just happened to repeat a lot. It was basically just me singing, I really love the dog. I really love the dog. Over and over again. I really love the dog. It was just a jazzy swing style thing. She had the worst breath, but she could rock a pair of freshly groomed butt cheeks. She was trained to break up any time Boots would hump Freddy. She was the easiest dog to give a bath to. When things got too overwhelming, she put herself under the couch. When a friend recently watched her, their couch was too low, so she slept next to it with just her nose squeezed under. Although I imagined the story of Mabel would be much longer, I can't ignore how dense her short life was with love and joy. Old dogs could only wish to retire with a resume half as long as Mabel's. One thing I keep reminding Emily and myself is that, on a weekly basis, we shared with each other how that excited feeling we felt the first day we met her never faded. We thought we'd get used to her, and she'd just be the dog after a while, but every action she performed still left me feeling like I was in the presence of a celebrity. I reminded her of that regularly. Today, I finally got myself out of bed just to sit in a chair and cry while looking at her tree. She exerted so much energy around the tree that it feels like the place she left the most of herself. While walking around in the bare dirt circle around her favorite tree, I found the name tag of hers that had fallen off over a month ago. It felt like she left it for me to find that day. Emily and I have continuously brought ourselves to the lower level of our deck just to look at the tree. We've been so conditioned to look out and see her spinning around it. Sometimes I can catch a glimpse of it in the corner of my eye and still trick my mind into filling in what I'm used to seeing beside it. My heart will break again when the grass grows back, but Emily wants to plant wildflowers around it next year. Which actually, I guess, she wants to do sooner than that, but anyway. We tried to train out the habit of barking at the tree, but we would give anything to have her screaming at the squirrels today. No amount of words is enough. There will be more posts and pictures to come. But for now, I want to give Mabel the stage to show you all her passion project when she wasn't making Emily's and my lives the happiest. And that's protecting her tree. We love you, Mabel. We had the cat sniff some of your fur today, and I really do feel like they get it. When we open the door, they look with the expectation of you coming in.